Yes.
Why?
Wow.
Hello. Good evening. And welcome back.
Where?
Welcome to the Ashe Committee. We're live and in person on the internet, very far apart.
I was gonna say
That's not in person.
We're bad at words, and we're bad at figuring out how things work. But hi, welcome. As per usual, as per the syllabus, I am Curtis, the GM, and lovely, lovely host of this gang of adventurers with Josh, Rachel, and Chris, playing Lami, Thalia, and Ronan, because they're all my buddies. So, as per the usual, before we begin, this episode is sponsored by Sheckler Woodworking. It's ShecklerWoodworking.com. We have cool merch over on that website. You can get yourself a set of stickers. If you haven't gotten them yet, get them because they're really fucking cool. We got a bunch of different sizes. You could buy them all. You could buy a fat pack bundle pack, and then you could buy one of Josh's dice trays.
That's
You
true.
could buy one of the dice trays and put the sticker on it, and you can make anything you want into 5% chance merch. Because we couldn't decide what merch to sell you, so we decided we'll just let you make everything 5% merch, and that's how we're going to do things. Saves on shipping, because these are way easier to ship than a hoodie. For now. Again, that
Can't make anything merch. Some things just don't like sticky thing.
That's true. Again, that is ShecklerWoodworking.com. Use code 5, the percent sign chance at checkout. You get 10% off, because 5% doesn't mean shit these days.
Nope. First person to make a 5% chance oil slick has my good graces. Look, if you can get the sticker to stick to it.
Honestly, that's fair. That's a fair assessment. I wasn't sure if oil slick was some term that I wasn't hip on because I don't.
Nope, just oil on the floor.
Just like
It's not hip to be square.
it is hip to
Sorry.
be square. Huey Lewis in the News taught me that.
All right. Yep. I was confused.
Speaking of squares, we've all settled into our respective rectangles on screen. So let's do a quick recap. Y'all are back in Korumvor. You've made it back to not quite the city where it all started, but
Not Durganvor though.
not Durganvor. You're above the door to Korumvor, where everybody
Don't
snores.
confuse him.
I'm trying to get this out of the way. No, you put that down, sir. You put that automaton down. It's like negotiating with a terrorist.
You put that down.
Sir,
it down.
sir, there's no reason to escalate this. We're fine. But no, y'all made it back to Korumvor. You teleported back and had a brief meeting with Atronix regarding
The Dick Wizard.
Yes. Regarding what you all learned and what your next couple of steps are. You did leave Yanti with a few presents. Lami got himself a couple of books. Ronan is currently in possession of a whistle that will call to Yati anywhere on the material plane. As well as some new kit, a pair of legendary kopeshes wielded by a Goliath of legend whose name has been lost. But the son of the mountain used these in a story that inspired Ronan many, many years ago. And now
The hill.
he carries them
About 79
himself.
years ago.
However, he is very, very old. And then Thalia was granted as a special boon from Yati, which caused a little bit of contention between his partner. Received a special pen carved entirely of brass with his head on the end of it. That will never run out of ink. Will write in any conditions and is sort of a status symbol for people who know about it. Those are people who know Yati's true identity and what he does. So they're a very select group of people who have these. Upon returning, you found a couple of pieces of information. There's been a whole push to finish some project down in Durganvor that Robbie was focusing on, while the three of you were temporarily displaced while fighting Imshara for 3 months. Threw himself into the work, which is opening today. Not entirely sure what that is. There is also word of a auditor, a goblin auditor who's walking around because Corinthus Scalehands, the master of coin of Durganvor, had some light fingers and made off with some cash and a few modrons as well.
What good treasurer doesn't skim off the top, you know?
Right? But so the entire Durganvor treasury is being audited, and you were given a fair warning that if you see a goblin in a well-dressed goblin in a three-piece suit, please do not bother him. Leave, like, if he approaches you, sure, don't punt him. Really, don't do your usual adventurer thing, and be ruffians. And then the conversation of these temporal incursions, was brought up. The next one, according to Yati's math, is in about 3 weeks. You don't know where it is, but you do know that it is arriving in this time. And in discussion with the Brotherhood, they are willing to throw behind their considerable person power into helping eliminate variables and things for any of your various research projects. When last we left that particular conversation, before Lami and Ronan went on their way, no one had really decided what to do with that. So they are currently waiting for instruction.
No, I thought we did. I thought we said the.
I have it here.
Oh.
Task A, Blue Landing Zone.
Great. So
Task B, de-aging Ronan.
excellent. So they are working on 2 tasks. We'll rewind. What I
But
said.
like 70% is on the
It's like
the blue
D8
landing zone.
Ronan, what?
Everyone's worried about old man Ronan.
A D8
it's like
Ronin.
it's it's like old man Logan,
Ooh.
except not a successful Marvel comic yet.
You're 6 now.
Yay!
So, with that being said, can I get someone to roll D percentiles for me?
I blame Rachel.
How many?
Just a D percentile.
Oh, you only want
You
one?
should roll one, and one should roll the other. Who's
Oh, don't
rolling
worry. There will
tens?
be opportunities to roll again.
Oh. Who do you want to do it then?
Pick. Somebody volunteer.
All
Josh,
right.
roll me D percentile.
90.
Beautiful. Excellent.
The ball has spoken.
Stepped into a war with the Cabal.
See, I don't need 2
Chris,
guys. I got a
because
big
you were the
ball with
second.
100
You were the
sides.
second nose goes. Roll me D percentiles as well.
What?
What?
That's not how the force works. Okay, so this is the tens, and this is a ones. Tens, that's a 7.
Okay.
Ones, that's a 4. 74.
Beautiful. Okay. Good. Thank you. Y'all were left on that while that research was started. Ronan and Lami left Atronix's office to go find an old friend. Or rather, Ronan left to find an old friend. Lami followed to find Ronan. Can't have an old man wandering the cities at night. Ronan, you were looking for Ed, the bloodied brewer, an owner, proprietor, and chief forge master at the Whetstone, a particularly industrious bar out on the range on the outskirts of the city, where you all hung out a time or two, as
Just
well
to
as
waste my time with you.
had a few drinks and made some things there. Wandering through the city, a couple notes from the guards that Ed had been on a bender, repeated benders, and he would stumble his way in and through the southwest gate. And he had kind of become just another drunk on the scene. You got to the Whetstone. The place was in disarray. Tools had been scattered around, taken off the walls, and the forges would not light. Every time you tried to put flame into them, writing in Dwarvish would appear on them, and the flame would be smothered. Lami joined you a little while later. No sign of Ed.
And no fire.
And no fire. The two of you waited in the whetstone for him to return. Thalia stayed in Atronix's office with an oddly familiar ginger cat.
I didn't know she tasted it.
And derailed my entire brain with a single sentence.
It's like a ginger snap or a ginger cat.
Don't like cats, please. Just don't like cats.
They like us.
That's true.
But Thalia spent her evening researching, taking the time to dig through the books that Lami had left with her. And when Ronan asked if he wanted to meet, she wanted to meet at the Twist and Shout for a drink like old times, she said no. And she's working. So, we will pick up. We handled what Thalia learned off screen, so she can recap that to the party. But we will open with our friends, Lami and Ronan. Where do we find you two?
Did we make it to the Twist and Shout?
Yeah. We'll say it's dawn. Sun's coming
Dawn
up.
of the first day. So we made it inside.
Yep.
Is Jahan there with Robo Boy?
This is the morning after. This is you waking up.
But yeah, was Jahan and the Robo Boy there, who
Yeah.
I tasked with keeping the
With maintaining the
establishment?
place, yes.
Yeah.
They are. As you wake up, you actually hear them beginning to bustle and commencing with morning chores. You can mostly hear Jahan's heavy footsteps. Or not Jahan, I apologize. Lalu's heavy footsteps as he's moving around downstairs. But you know where you can assume where Lalu is. Jahan is nearby. Okay. Where do we find you, buddy?
At the bar. I feel like I probably slept downstairs in a booth.
Okay. That's not going to be good for your back at your age.
No. Not used to being old. So I guess I'm gonna find Lami.
I mean, I probably wouldn't be far from you.
True.
Yeah, Lami, where are you sleeping? Where do we find you?
On a table.
Just flat on your back?
Yep.
Perfect. I guess. Have we spoken to Jahan and Lalu?
Usual pleasantries. Once you came down, yeah,
They were like, "Who the fuck are you, old guy?"
yeah. Jahan Lalu handles most of the acknowledgments. But once you identify yourself, you also have a key to the place.
True.
Which helps get you in reasonably well. But yeah, you guys had the run of the places. Lalu basically shut down into sentry mode in the corner to watch the overnight.
Perfect. Lami, Ed, find.
How am I supposed to know where he's at?
But I'm just going to go find him. So
Ed.
you can either come with me, or you can lay here on the table.
Ed.
Or you can lay here on the table.
He's not here, Ronan.
I forgot I wasn't old. All right, I leave.
Well, wait.
Ronan's gait is substantially less
Mm-hmm.
than it used to be.
Are you going to get a cane?
If we're looking at like a normal speed of 40 feet per round, I'm looking at like a 20 feet per round kind of guy.
Okay. So you were moving half as quick as you used to. And there's a weird sense of like I should be moving faster through this place because the last time I was here I could cross this bar room in 3 strides, and now it's taking me 9.
He lost those new
Grandpa
balance,
is
man.
Walker.
Just hasn't been able to move as well without them.
Gotta get those white New
Gotta
Balances.
break him in.
Yeah.
Gotta break in the new pair.
With my short shorts that I mow the grass with. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just go back to the range, to the whetstone, see if he's there. If he's not there, start wandering around looking at bars that I think he might be at.
Okay.
I go with him.
Okay. Ronan, as you're leading this, make some investigation checks for me. Josh, if you would like, or Lami, if you would like to assist, you can tell me how.
I'm assisting.
Allow me on a scale of 1 to investigation.
Uh-huh.
How many investigations would you say you have?
How many investigate? I have a plus
I-
0
Ronan,
investigation.
you're leading this. Ronan, you are taking point. Josh is assisting.
19.
So Josh, tell me how you're assisting to give him advantage.
I would pay extra attention to all the gutters that drunk people fall in.
Okay. Yeah.
Every good city's got those.
Oh yes. Oh yes. As you're stumbling around, shuffling more so, the sun has cleared the horizon, but hasn't quite hit like 9 o'clock ish. It's still early ish. Like 8:30 or so. Folks are starting to mingle. Shops are opening. For ones that have a later class of clientele. Most of the drunks have left these establishments. Most of the drunks have been cleared out of the gutters. But due to your advanced age and taking the time to do this adventuring, it's going to
Because
take
you just can't go fast.
However, with that 19, when you get to the whetstone, in daylight, something's tripping your... Something's not quite right with how this place looks.
Does it look different than how we left it?
No, not particularly, but in daylight, in the dark, there was still that sense of just like this place there had been a sense that this had been abandoned and empty. That he had thrown his tools in a fit and left. In the daylight, yes, there is still that sense of disuse and disrepair. You find broken glass, you find broken chairs, but something starts to tickle in the back of your brain that there's more to this.
Fuck, he was kidnapped? He was
You're not sure.
Ednapped?
Something's tickling the back of your brain. That danger sense, that sense of there's a problem.
Is there a person in here?
No. It is just as empty as you left it last night.
Can I look around for any, like, signs of weapon marks?
You certainly can. Josh, are you assisting? Or do you
I'm
look for something else?
assisting. Oh, what would I look for? I don't want to look for weapon marks. I would look for, like, secret things.
Tunnels.
Tunnels, passages, doors, bookcases that have weird book levers.
Okay. Then both of you make me separate investigation checks.
I'm just going to walk around the whole building and start beating on the wall.
13.
It sounds hollow in here. 15.
So, you do not find any large secret passages, Josh. You do find a few places where, at the bar, where a piece of paneling pops open and there's a very, very expensive bottle of either dwarvish beer or a particularly expensive whiskey or scotch. There is a cabinet that the panel pops open, and inside a locked glass box is a bottle that is gently pulsing and changing colors and you see.
Oh no,
Oh, it's a disco drink.
that's a throwback.
That
That's
is-
what that is.
There, yes. It appears the secret compartments are all where he stores the very expensive and very dangerous liquor, but you don't find any tunnels in or out of the bar. Ronan, as you're looking around for weapons, on a 13, you do not find any weapon marks. But looking closer to the door, it does look like it's hard to tell through your footprints and Lami's footprints. Because the dust has been kicked up by you guys coming through. It does look like something heavy was dragged. There's a couple of nicks in the woodwork where something heavy and metal was dragged out of here.
Heavy and metal.
Mhm.
There's not an anvil missing, is there?
Not that you can see. No. From your time here, all the anvils, all the equipment seems to be in its place. There's no empty pedestals or anything.
Will it be large and metal?
No, it's a metal shop. It could be anything.
Not large, heavy.
Heavy. Heavy and made of metal.
From the nicks and scratches you can see on the floor. Whatever was dragged across it was definitely harder than the wood.
Didn't Ed have spiky armor, Lami?
Kinda spiky. Why?
Like very spiky. Does it look like these marks could have been caused by Spiky Ed? Oh,
Spiky
Spiky
Ed
Ed!
Roll me another investigation.
1.
Yeah, could have. Could not have been.
Fuck.
I don't know about any spiky Ed, but I found these. So at the very least, we could go fishing for Ed, and maybe he'll pop up if we have his favorite drinks.
Please tell me
Fishing.
he has one of the disco.
Did you
drinks.
grab the
Oh,
locked
I
bottle?
would be holding up the bottle of the colorful one, and then whatever other one looked the most expensive, the fanciest looking.
Yeah, there is one that looks like it has just a single drop suspended in the middle of the bottle. It's not touching the sides; it's just suspended there. But there's a single drop in this like decent sized bottle.
I don't trust that one.
So, but you've got the bottle of the Unsun's juice, and you've got just one of the nice dwarven whiskeys that's been aged for about 1,000 years. Excellent. So yeah, you two take those. Anything else you want to do here before you start moseying?
I don't think so.
Do I feel as though there's anything else I could glean from being here?
There's not an upstairs, is
Roll
there?
insight.
I have advantage on insight. 19, because I think I have a +0.
You're trusting your gut and trusting your instincts about this. Looking around the room, you're kind of at a 50-50 on if the tools that were scattered, the broken furniture, you're not sure if that was Ed being drunk and angry or if there was a fight. But you're inclined to think fight. You're 75% that this was a fight.
Can I tell which way the heavy spiky thing was dragged outside?
Once you get outside, you can make a survival check.
Survival?
But you are fairly certain. You're fairly certain there's nothing.
I rolled 19.
Whatever
plus
happened.
5.
You're fairly certain
24.
whatever happened in the whetstone, the drag marks were the end of it.
Oh.
The drag marks were the end of whatever happened. Either Ed dragged something out of the whetstone, or Ed was dragged out of the whetstone, or Ed dragged somebody else out. But that's where you're confident that's where the trail ends, in the whetstone, and then you can go outside and pick it up elsewhere.
Okay. Well, outside and I got 24. Or was that for the 24?
No, that was still the 19. That was your
Okay.
check. That was you trusting your gut about what had gone on inside. So with a 24 survival, as you step outside, and a couple of clouds that had been lingering over the north side of the city have started to really push their way in, and you're starting to feel the slight pitter-patter of raindrops on your face. With a 24, you look around, and you can't really find any tracks.
Are there any
There's been
scrapes going up on the roof? Are there?
No, nothing. With a 24, nothing on the roof.
Where do we go now, Ronan?
I don't fucking know.
Hold on, 1 second.
This commercial break is brought to you by Sheckler Woodworking. You get all your Sheckler Woodworking needs at shecklerwoodworking.shecklerwoodworking.com.
Verb the nouns. Sheckler Woodworking. Do the thing.
Sheckler Woodworking.
But with a so yeah, you don't know where the hell to go. Where do you go?
Ed.
Are there
Got
any
your favorite drinks?
other people that, any other businesses or houses that may have seen someone come or go?
There's a couple of bars nearby.
I'll go to the closest one.
Excellent. As Lamy is standing in the street calling out for Ed, Ronan kind of trudges his way across the street into a bar called the Quarterstaff.
Ooh.
Run by a pair of dwarvish brothers. And that's where we will jump over to Rachel. Rachel, you wake up to the pitter-patter of raindrops on glass in Atronix's office.
Do I get a long rest?
Yes.
Dope.
You figured out your research, and while you were researching, you conked out.
Yep.
But yeah, you get a long rest.
Yay.
Yeah, you're waking up to the soft pitter-patter of raindrops on your on the window in Atronix's office, and you're still alone in his office. The cat has curled up on the chair that you were kind of leaned against while you were working. It is curled up on the seat. Not the best sleep you've ever gotten, sort of leaned up against a chair, but you've had worse. Do you want to go over what you discovered in that notebook?
I mean,
Or do
I'll
you wanna
save it for when I'm.
Okay.
I'll save it for when I'm with the boys.
Okay. So yeah, what do you do? What would you like to do?
I'm assuming I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna review what I have, and I'm going to just keep chugging away. I don't know how much. So what you gave me off camera, that's everything I accomplished before I fell asleep?
That's in that particular tome, that is everything you gained from that tome, because you crit your check to dig into it. You milked every single piece of information out of that book.
Sweet. Okay, then I will move on to the next book.
Okay. What's the next book you're digging into? Because you dug through the dragon genealogy.
And then he took the legend of the sun person. Lamy still has that one. He left behind. What's the third book?
He gave us autobiography.
Yes, that one. I start looking into that.
Okay. Roll me. What did I make you roll last time? History?
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna use my inspiration because I don't feel like
Also, because you leveled up, can you use your bardic on yourself?
I can. If I feel like it. 22.
Yeah, we leveled up. Okay. So with a 22, this seems to be again more of a haughty autobiography being dictated to some poor sap that Yeva kept, brought into her hoard and kept there for. You're not entirely sure. Thanks to the power of editing, it's been a minute or three.
Okay.
But you're thinking anywhere between 4 to 8 weeks. So 2 months in captivity, getting all of this story down. With a 22, I'll give you, yeah. What are 3 things you'd like to learn from this tome? 3 questions that you want answers to.
Sorry, just finishing one up.
You're good.
3 things I want to learn about from that. I'd probably look into any. I remember you telling Lamy that there was like a lot of just like infighting, usurping family, and like backstabbing and stuff like that. So I would pay attention to any not backstabby relationships she has with other creatures, like any potential alliances, any known associates, loose associates.
Okay, finding the friends.
You know, yeah.
So who are her friends? Scrolling through this autobiography, she name drops Yati, the Golden-Eyed, the Sovereign of the Desert, more as a. She never describes him as an enemy. More of a the rival on the HOA for all intents and purposes. It's very Stepford Wives, very catty relationship. But you also know that if she describes somebody like that, they are a bitter, bitter enemy because she spent so long building up Tannel to put him down. So sort of with that understanding, there's a realization that this whole thing is almost inverted. So her enemies, the people that she rages against the most, are the ones that will be her staunchest allies.
Okay.
And she has an entire chapter raging against the gnomes of Springsocket, the ogres in the Badlands north of the mountains above Kondo, and a small paragraph raging, just derisively cutting down the shields of the saint. Is there any one of those you want to learn more about?
Sorry, just going through the list to make sure I have it correct. The gnomes of Springsocket, the ogres of the Badlands, and the shields of the saint. Okay. I'm gonna look into the Springsocket. The Springsocket link.
Excellent. So she talks a lot about how gnomes are useful tinkerers. They're very good at making things. They're very good at making little distractions and things. But imagine they're just wasting their time. They're wasting their talents, and they have no vision. they're not delicious. They're not tasty. They're too small. You have to eat them like popcorn. And they're the only ones who have ever made. They're the only ones who can make something quickly and not have it break the first time. Their entire culture is based around naming things in stupid, tongue-twistery ways. How can a species survive like that? How can they function? And sort of dressing down gnomish society and their inventions. Roll me an insight check.
Okay. Oh, good. 7.
The fact that she's shit-talking an entire colony and race of inventors is, judging from her earlier discussions, she's definitely made some power plays in Spring Socket because of their inventiveness.
Mm-hmm.
You can't read much more into that than that, but it's a fairly obvious, it's a fairly clear line there.
Yeah. Okay, so that counts as 2 of my research things. Okay?
Yeah.
So I have 1 left. Okay, I want to go to the end. I want to focus on the end where, someone would talk about like their vision, their plan, their 50-year plan.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of, because I don't know necessarily how soon this autobiography was before her death. So I'm looking for kind of what direction she's headed. What was that master plan, or what was she writing about? Like, oh, this petty squabble, I'll crush it instantly, and maybe that's what led led to downfall.
Yeah. What's the last entry?
Yeah.
Okay. So this last entry, she's sitting down with, and eventually she does learn the scribe's name and start using it. Brother Symbir, Cymbir, of the Brotherhood. She starts calling him Simbi. The last one is more of a record of a conversation. Where she goes, Simbi, what do you want? You've been awfully patient for the 2 months I've had you here. You haven't tried to run once. Which honestly surprises me. What do you want? Simbi says his piece about, a very familiar piece to you, Thalia, the Brotherhood line about observing history and not being a part of it. She goes, no. By observing history, by interacting with it, even in that detached way that you all do, that is interacting. That is making history. And you'll take this book back, and they'll write it, and they'll shelve it, and they'll publish it somewhere. And you will be tied to this forever. And that's what you want, right? Immortality in one way, shape, or form. That's something you mortals seem to be so worried about. Perpetuity. And she breaks off because there's a soft chiming in another room. Another part of the horde echoing through the lightning blasted part of her cave. And she does something she hasn't done in any of these other interviews. She simply leaves. She does not dismiss him. She does not move him to his cell. She just leaves. And Simbir's records state that he wandered through the caves when she did not return and could not find her. And upon deciding that the interview was over, he left her cave. 100 years ago.
Okay. All right. So once I'm finished with my research, I'll probably check my notes and then make a Spark Notes version for the boys to have, prepared and ready to present when they ask. And then she's probably going to go try to find record of this brother Simbir.
Okay. As you've made your notes, there's a faint tapping at the door. Working on your Spark Notes version. There's a faint knock. And again.
I'm just gonna. It's probably your. I think it's your office. You can come in.
Swings open, and Atronics is there with 2 very large mugs of coffee. He goes, I just wasn't sure if you were awake or not. It seems like you've been... Thalia, I'm going to ask a very important question. Did you sleep?
Yes.
He kind of puts that, his small spectacles down. It just kind of gives you a look. All right.
Not by choice, but I did.
Good. Your body has more sense than the rest of you. That seems to be the correct choice. Did you learn anything?
Yes.
Good.
And I show him my version of the notes.
Kind of skims through. I don't like this blue corn tortilla that you have all found yourselves entangled with.
Yeah. The timeline is interesting.
Interesting is not a word I like in this job. I don't like the word interesting because that means it's either going to be catastrophic or expensive or expensively catastrophic.
I don't really have a better word for it though at this point.
That's the correct word. I just don't like it.
Yeah. Maybe we keep using it because we keep trying to pretend it won't be catastrophic or expensive.
Trying to change the definition by association. Yeah, there's something to that. I don't think it'll work, but I can appreciate the attempt. I do have a meeting in about 10 minutes, so if I could have my office back by then.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was going to go look up Brother Simbir's records, see if I could find anything else.
Oh, yes. I don't think his have been sealed. Yes.
I'll go see.
They should. If they are sealed, tell them I sent you. Or tell them you have my blessing, and we should be just fine.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm not sure where your friends went after they left, but let me know if you want me to send a runner for them.
Okay.
Lifts his mug of coffee to you in kind of a toast, and sits in one of the side chairs while you tidy up your notes.
Yeah, tidy up, head out.
Okay. You're heading down to the archives. Have you been to the Brotherhood section of the archives before? The personnel records?
Would I have? I don't think so. I don't think I had stuck my nose in anything that would have gotten me over there.
Okay. As you go down, there is a withered old man standing, hunched over just this very, very pale, wispy individual. And it's not until you get closer you realize he's an elf, till the tips of the ears are kind of drooping out through, and standing there. And he goes, hello. What can I assist you with today?
I'm looking for records on Brother Symbier.
Symbier. Spell it for me, please.
Oh, I hope I wrote this right. Cymbir, Symbier?
Symbier. Oh, yes. Yes. And he takes a very long, bony finger and just kind of slides it through this onion skin paper. This book that he's thumbing through is very, very old, and he's just very gently thumbing through it. Yes, Symbier. Are you looking for his record of works or his life accomplishments? Or just a biography?
Probably looking at his life accomplishments and then maybe into his works.
Well, very good. They're very near each other. You're looking for aisle 47, third shelf on the left-hand side. Should be about 18 volumes altogether for most of his works and his accomplishments. Will there be anything else, Miss Thalia?
I think that'll be all. Thank you, Elder.
Very good. And he kind of goes back to his... You realize that as he kind of slips back into that half-trance state, he was 100% asleep when you came down here, and he just, like, popped up, you talked to him, and he went back to sleep. And his directions are perfect. All 18 volumes are there, aligned perfectly in the dust. These have not been touched in a very long time.
Okay.
Go ahead and make a... history investigation. Whichever you'd prefer.
History, please. That's a 26.
Beautiful. So, reading through his body of works, this book is not among them.
I wondered.
A lot of his records are... He was a skilled interviewer. That was his entire spiel, was tracking down famous figures and events and recording from the words of and testimonies of the people who were there. You can sort of skimming through not only just his works but his encyclopedia, he was staunchly against the use of memory engrams for recording events. He believed that history needed to be separated from the emotion in order to remain objective. Memories and visions are wonderful for living in that moment, but you need the benefit of distance and the separation of the sharp pains of the moment in order to fully understand and comprehend what has happened. You don't remember the accident. You don't remember your bones breaking. You remember the time it takes to heal and the lessons learned that way. Staunchly old school. The sort of slim little pamphlet leading off his section marked his date of death as about 50 years ago.
Okay.
Or he was buried in the crypts with full Brotherhood honors. And this is your first time hearing about crypts beneath the Brotherhood, which has its own level of dark and dank and scary.
Right?
Crypts with a capital C, which is never what you want.
I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
So if we have all forgotten about this chunk of time, is there just a chunk in the calendar that's just like missing from the past?
No.
No? It's still just there? Just no one remembers what happened then?
You'll have to do some research and talk to some ageless, timeless beings that understand time a little differently than you do.
Hopefully they have calendars.
Hopefully they do, yes.
They have circular calendars.
They're the Mayans. We have to go talk to the Mayans.
You're lucky I don't have my Aztec death whistle.
Yeah, well, that's
It's in
not
my
a
backpack.
Mayan death whistle now, is it? And that
It's
would be
not.
that would be incorrect. That would be cultural appropriation, and we're not here for it. We're here for accuracy. Anyway, my fantasy dragon man and my small giant. Unless Rachel, you had any questions that you wanted to ask.
Not at this moment.
Great. We will jump back to Dude, Where's My Ed?
Mommy's in the streets just holding up 2 bottles of whiskey. Look, anybody who walks by, have you seen Ed? You know, short, about yay tall, used to live over there.
Okay.
Just waving the bottles around and pointing with them.
Great. So you're doing that. What's Ronan doing? What's Ronan doing in the quarterstaff run by Daltho and Jal, a pair of dwarf brothers who run the place.
Daltho and Jal.
The Jal. D-J-A-L-L.
The Jal.
And D-A-L-T-H-O.
Can you say those one more time?
Daltho. D-A-L-T-H-O.
Thank you.
And Djal. D-J-A-L-L. And the Venko.
DJ All.
E-N-V-E-N-K-O.
And Venko. Is there a little apostrophe between the D and the J like
Nope.
djembe?
Nope. It is. Dwarves don't believe in apostrophes.
Dwarves don't play djembes. Got it.
No, they don't. They do not.
I
They do not
will
culturally
go-
appropriate either.
Well, yeah, no, I don't know. Where you get your names? Why is this one page stuck over there?
Go on. So
sorry.
yeah, what are you doing?
Paper confuses me. I guess, is there a spot I can sit down at the bar?
Sure.
I sit.
You are. The bar is not necessarily sized for you.
How rude.
It is sized for traditionally sized humanoids, and there is a small. There's sort of the area where all the drinks are prepared, and then there's a platform for dwarves to be at eye level. And so as you walk up, Daltho's like, "What do you want then? You're
What?
You're a little big to be in here this early drinking, old timer. You good?
Big?
You lost?
No.
All right.
No, could I just have a scotch or a whiskey and a moment of your time?
Now, how
I
old do
don't
you want
know.
to be?
As old as me. This is a test.
Now, if you were a lady,
I will not be upset.
no, if you were a lady, I'd find something like it. My default is 21.
I hold
Nice.
my hand under my chin.
You know, you're pretty enough, mister. Joel, bring out the 21, and you hear... It'll be right out. So what can I help you with?
I was wondering when the last time you saw Mr. Ed was.
I saw him. I didn't see him. We heard him about 4 days ago. Drunk in his workshop again.
Do you know what he was doing drunk in his workshop?
Being sad.
Fair.
Throwing shit.
Because inside there are drag marks being led towards the door.
Look. Are you friends?
Yeah. I know that he's not been doing well.
Because if he owes you money, don't worry, he owes me more than anybody.
No, he does not owe me money. How much does he owe you?
That's between him and me. You sure you're one of his friends? You're too nice to be one of his friends.
I put 300 gold on the counter.
Looks at it. And he looks back at the pile of money and looks at you. Looks back at the pile of money and looks at you and goes, "What's your name, friend?"
Ronan Dex.
Oh, and his face falls. I'm sorry, buddy. I can't take your money.
Why?
Because you're one of the 3 or 4 sober-ish words. Your name is one of the 3 or 4 sober-ish words we could get out of Ed. Because about 3 months ago, 2, he just stumbled across the street one night, bawling. Like he got the worst news in the world. I could only get a couple of names out of him. Yours was one.
What were the others?
Dumb fucking Dragonborn. Then Joe, what was it? What was the name? Yeah, Thalia. Just couldn't get the words out through the tears in his beard.
I desperately need to find him.
I think he needs to find you too. The jaw comes out with 2 glasses of scotch. He goes, so it's like, no, it's for him. And he goes, reaches over, grabs a bigger glass, sets it on the table, takes the 2 shots, pours them in, and slides it over to you. Walks back into the back of the bar. Forgive my brother. He's family. Help him where you can.
True. So do you have any idea where, if he's not at his shop, where he could be?
Any of the other bars on this run?
How often did he come in here in the past 2 months?
He came in here probably once a week. We check on him. We kind of had a rotation. Once more dwarves got back in the city, and we found places where we could. Found kin again.
Were you part of the group with the dwarf queen lady and the rock cars?
Our beloved Lady Regent. And he kind of waves over at a framed painting on the wall where the Regent of Durganfor has sort of kind of framed herself. Which I should remember her name, but I don't. So quick to the... Rachel?
Ooh, Demora!
Yes, Lady Demora, the Queen Regent of Durganfor, and essentially Robbie's steward when he is out and about on his gallivanting multiplanar adventures. Didn't feel the same. Too much had changed.
I just realized something completely different. Had nothing to do with this.
What'd you realize, buddy?
That the dwarf that was with them that tried to set the thing on fire is one of the other colorful Modrons.
No.
Modron people. No?
Do not believe so. Because I had that thought when I asked Yati about the timeline, because he said the Elderwood, which was where we met the Elder Tree. And Lythar got the whole speaker title. And Yati, I believe, confirmed that that was not... The timeline didn't line up.
Okay.
Because I had the same thought a couple weeks ago.
Fair.
A couple of us would keep an eye on him. He'd normally be asleep in a shop or wandering around looking for drink. We'd give him enough to keep him from punching anybody or getting skewered by a guard, but
The last time the guards saw him was about 4 days ago.
that's about the last time we heard him.
Thank
He
you.
can only go over and put his tools back so many times. But yeah, about 4 days there was a ruckus. I just figured it was him. Haven't seen him since.
Well, thank you for your time.
Cool.
If you see him before I see him, let him know that I'm looking for him.
Tell him a grumpy old fuck named Ronan was looking for him. I could do that.
I don't think I've been that grumpy.
Look at you. You're that big and that old. There's a lot of grumpy in there.
My knees hurt.
Get lower to the ground.
Then my back hurts.
Make that lower to the ground. See, if you're under 4 feet, that's the ticket.
I will keep that in mind.
You look good bisected. He agrees.
I've never been bisected. I have had my arm ripped off.
That's a good start. That's a great way to lose about. That's a great way to lose about 20 pounds.
It used to be 40 pounds. I'll just down the drink and out I go.
We kind of both look at you and watch you leave. And Alami, out on the street, as you are being
Edward.
As you're asking people, make a persuasion check for me. Have you seen Ed?
That is a 26.
26, you persuasive motherfucker.
I still got good charisma.
He's very cute.
People aren't necessarily looking at you like, oh, another fucking drunk on the street. They're walking by and being like, is he drunk? Like, no, he's looking for his friend. A lot of people like, have you checked the sewers? You check upstairs? He's probably passed out in a fucking gutter somewhere. A lot of folks are aware of Ed's plight. But it's a one-horned tiefling man comes up to you. One horn, this dark, like this very dark green skin, a color you're not used to seeing on tieflings. Hand kind of curls up, horn curls up, and the other one is replaced with silver. Comes up and he goes, you're looking for Ed?
Yeah, you know him. About yay tall, usually drunk. These are his.
Yeah, and he looks at the bottles and goes, I knew that bastard had fucking Unsun's juice. I've been looking for that everywhere. You can't find that. You know how hard that is to find? Tell you what. I'll tell you what I know. And we'll split it. We'll split that bottle right there.
Bit too colorful for me, but sure.
I'll take the whole thing. I didn't want to just presume and just take. I can tell you what I know.
You got a deal, my one-horned friend.
Reaches hand out and says, call me Aimer.
Aimer. Like gamer.
No, Gamer is my brother. He runs a very, very nice dance bar over in... Oh, I forgot the name of my coastal city. Dally, where are you from?
Terraborn.
Terraborn, thank you.
Or are we going to the other one? The other coastal city?
There's
Terraborn.
another coastal city?
Yes.
Terraborn.
There's a lot of
That's the one we're
coasts,
going
buddy.
Yeah, there's another coastal city plus a whole chain of islands.
Is that by the frozen land bridge that goes to the north and south pole that sometimes
No.
melts?
No.
to. Learning so much
part of the-
geography. But no, over in Terraborn, he owns a dance bar, a dancing bar. And that's my brother Gamer. He pronounces the A a little less, so it's Gamer. But if you,
I'd love to
if
meet
you run
him
into
someday.
him,
But
run into him, tell him I said hello.
so, what do you know about Ed?
Well, as I was, walk with me. I can show you what I saw. That it's been about 4 days, but it helps if I'm in the right spot.
All right.
He kind of takes you by the shoulder and moseys you on over. And he goes, so I was here. I just visited one of my favorite establishments for the evening, Slice of Life. If you're ever there, you have to try the rum lava cake. Actual rum, actual lava. Oh, it's to die for. Anyway, I come out and I hear Ed making his boisterous noise, like making all of his ruckus. And I heard a few other voices. And then there was noise of a scuffle. I poked my head out because I wasn't sure if Ed was just beating up somebody because he looked like an ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend, whatever. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to report on what I saw. And several short, small individuals, not a single one of them over 4 feet, had something heavy that they were moving out of Ed's shop. Lights were dark, and I just saw them pick it up, throw it in the back of a cart, and drive off.
This was after they. Okay, weird.
I thought it was a robbery. Thought they'd knocked Ed out and taken something out of his shop, and I wasn't. I reported it to the guards, but they just assumed it was a drunken brawl. But
What do you think it was?
But, and he leans in very, very close. Here's the trick. They didn't leave the city. They went back inside.
Into the fancy bar.
No, and he points up towards the wall into Cormvor. It was right before the gates were shut. Traipsed on in, easy as you please. Guards didn't give him a lick of trouble. And I got to see what they were driving. It wasn't a horse
What were
pulling
they
that
driving?
wagon.
Well, what was it?
And he looks at the other bottle
goats?
in your hand. He looks at the bottle of whiskey in your hand and goes, I told you what I saw. I mean, if you...
Oh,
Surely that's enough for someone like you to find him and right this wrong.
all right. You can have the other one if you tell me more things.
So, and he leans in close. And as he leans in close, you realize that his breath smells really good. notice that like a couple of his teeth look like they're made out of silver, and so is his tongue. There's this faint click as the metal ticks against the metal in his mouth. And he goes, "My hand to all the gods that listen. Take my other horn if I'm telling you the wrong thing. It looked like a giant metal chicken."
A giant metal chicken.
That's what I saw. I hadn't had that much to drink. I went in and checked. They didn't throw me out for not paying my tab. They just asked me to pay for it, which means I didn't have that much. And a giant metal chicken was pulling that wagon. Now you think that'd make it really easy to find, but couldn't find any record of it. Guards flipped through his book, said, "Nope, no big metal chickens here. How much you have to drink?"
So what do you think they took out of his shop?
Don't know. Haven't been inside his shop since he had a breakdown.
So he got in a fight, disappeared, and then his things went missing, and a giant metal chicken stole them.
Saw a fight. Saw something coming out of the barn. Thrown in the back. Dragged away.
Out of the bar or out of Ed's shop?
They're the same thing. Above game, they are like the same thing. It's all one door.
I thought we were talking about a different bar.
Nah, out of the whetstone.
Well, that's... You've given me more questions than answers, honestly, but that's not your problem.
Oh, I'm happy to help. Tell you what, if you're looking for more, if you have more questions for me, if the guards finally find it within themselves to come ask me questions, come find me. And he reaches in, pulls out a business card. He goes, "I run a small establishment off to the side. It's called the About Face."
Face.
You can
What do you do
find it.
there?
Oh, all manner of sorts of things. Usually repairs, maintenance on tools and things. I'm a silversmith by trade, but the skills there tend to, what's the phrase? Multifaceted.
I don't know what that means.
Cross disciplines every so often.
Well, I might pop in sometime. Here's these. I have to go find somebody and tell them about this chicken.
He watches you leave with the 2 bottles, and he takes a finger, jimmies it into the lock on the incense juice, pops the lock off it, pulls off the cork. This is a 60s vintage. Pops it, takes a swig, puts the cork on, and starts just kind of grooving on down the street to an invisible beat.
I sprint down the street back to Ronan.
Ronan, you are coming out of the bar, and you do not see Lamy where you left him.
Perfect. I sit down on the stoop. Like sit there for a second and catch my breath because I'm old as fuck. Do I see Lamy?
I'm cooking. I bet you hear me from about 1.5 miles away.
Are you yelling Ronan's name? Are you doing?
Yes.
Ronan!
Is it getting closer to me or further away?
Closer.
Then I will wait.
Lamy, as you're running, your passive perception's 10.
11, thank
11.
you.
Perfect. So with an 11, you'll spot him. With a 10, it was 50-50. But no, with an 11, you see Ronan sitting on the stoop of a bar, the bar that you think you remember him going into. You're not quite sure. You were busy pestering the passerby. But yeah, you see him sitting on the front steps of the quarterstaff, kind of leaned up against the railing.
And I half run past him and do one of those skid hoppity slide stops, like, oh jeez. Ronan, I just learned some things.
What
No.
did you learn?
Well, I met a man with a horn, another horn made of silver, really nice. His name's Amer. He has a store.
Like one horn? Or
No, like a
one
tiefling.
horn? Oh, a tiefling. Okay.
Yes. Met a tiefling. He told me a couple nights ago there was a fight outside of Ed's, and then he looked around the corner. People were gone. Something was being dragged out of the shop, and they put it in a carriage being pulled by. Can you guess? No, you'd think it was a horse. No, it's not goats either. I asked.
A large goat.
It was a giant metal chicken.
Who the fuck has a giant metal chicken?
That's what I said. And apparently the guards have no memory of there being a giant metal chicken in the city at all.
So, now I'm no expert. However,
makes two
I
of
would
us.
think that if the guards, who you would think would at least notice a giant metal chicken, have no record of a giant metal chicken, that would lead us to believe that the guards were paid off by someone of a financial stature. Also, that would check out as to how they would have a giant mechanical chicken. Now, knowing that Ed can fashion weapons out of the goo puddle that you and Robbie made, and knowing that there is currently someone of a great financial stature in control of the goo puddle, you could connect the lines and therefore assume that the person who owns the goo puddle also has access to a giant robotic chicken and would possibly want Ed to make them a weapon out of the goo puddle.
What if the guards are giant metal chickens?
That is also a possibility, but I feel really good about my deduction.
We're gonna have to cut to a break here, guys. We'll be right back. Oh no, there's a giant metal chicken attacking my router. We shall return. No, what an interesting hypothesis there, Ron.
On a scale of 1 to right.
You'll find out. You gotta find the chicken first.
All right, I'm gonna
Find the
go
chicken.
to the goo puddle.
Okay.
The
I'll
divine
go with
puddle.
Let's go to the goo puddle.
Probably every like 200 yards, Rona's kind of gonna stop, like catch his breath, and keep on meandering.
Okay. So that'll take you essentially the rest of the morning because you are going through most of Korumvor and then working your way up into the financial district, up into the nobility district.
As we pass guards that quietly go and see if any of them respond.
A couple of them, as you walk by, some of the younger ones are like, kind of like thinking it's some kind of greeting.
You're starting a new trend. All the kids will be going,
Hotman.
Yeah. So you're just going straight up to the goo puddle?
yeah.
Okay. Before we go to break, we'll go to Thalia. Where do we find you after your research, as you're sifting through, as several hours have ticked by?
So I'm out of curiosity. Did Simbier ever? I mean, I'm guessing there's works before and after his trip to Yeva, his all expense paid vacation to Yeva's.
What a terrible Price is Right price.
There's no reference. There's no reference to writing that autobiography. There's no reference to working with her at all in any capacity in his later works.
In his later works, roll investigation for me. One more.
Okay.
We'll make you all roll dice.
12.
12. There's a conspicuous absence of no. So in his prior interviews, he would interview inventors. He would interview essentially cardinals of the Shields of the Saint. He would interview. He even did have 1 or 2 interviews with some of the ogre chieftains. Past that, in the years of his life after his interview with Yeva, there are no interviews with any of those groups. And also a distinct lack of anything on the Kondoan side of the world, keeping himself further west.
And there's no reason, like, why.
No reason noted. His 2 months absence is described as a sabbatical.
Okay.
And with a 12, his records pick up about a year after his sabbatical began. So, presumably, got abducted for 2 months, took the rest of the year off once he was released and returned.
Okay. Finish that thought in a hot second. Oh, not month.
2 months stay.
Okay. Finish that thought in a second. So, all right. I guess after she's done looking into those records, can I figure out the system of where things, like how things are sorted? Like just looking at this area?
Kind of.
Kind of wants to Google herself, but not really like click on anything. Like
Okay,
she doesn't want to ask
you wanna
about
find
it.
your records?
She just is. She's very curious to see. Like this guy had 18 volumes and all that stuff. She'd kind of be like, "All right, do a drive-by of Atronics," is just not looking into any of it, but just like clocking to see like, okay, how big of a deal is Atronics compared to Symbior? You know, like
you want to you want to measure up and see where you sit in the.
Yes and no. Like she would kind of look at Atronics to be like, okay, how big of a deal was Symbior in like I know where Atronics is right in current. So she'd like go check out Atronics' records just to see like, okay, is Symbior more or less than where Atronics is on track to be? And then out of curiosity, she'd go to see hers.
Okay.
I can roll if you want.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what to make you roll for this.
Well, that's a 2, so no matter
I was going
what.
to say, because you're trying to like track it down with whatever internal filing system there is.
Yeah. That's a 2 plus, I don't know,
just do straight intelligence.
Straight intelligence 3.
Oh, yikes!
Look, my modifiers are not great unless we get into the checks.
Unless we're doing specific skills. So as you start to like wander, and you realize there's a reason that the old man at the door gave very specific instructions, because it is a maze back here. There are some. You are finding shelves where there are where brothers have a single book. You find entire shelves of books. Specifically, some of the brothers that you're finding have very, very dense tomes of pictures and pressings, like old school Encyclopedia Britannica, like volumes.
Yeah.
And you find yourself a little lost. And you find yourself at a crossroads between bookshelves. And you're not sure which way to go. And you hear faint.
I was supposed to say, where's the cat?
Tink, 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 tink. It gets a little faster. Tink, 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 tink.
Modron.
Little Modron pops up in the hallway and goes, "Greetings and salutations. I believe that you are lost. Would you like assistance?"
Yeah, I'd like to find the exit, please.
Which exit? One of the many fire exits that we have here, preferably to building code? Or would you like to leave the entrance you came in?
The main entrance I came in, please.
One moment. Yeah, it kind of looks down. When it looks back up, it's not a metallic eye. It's a very human-looking green one. It says, "Oh, hell. Looks like we might have to flip a coin on this one, miss." You look confused. Did your
Just gonna
buddy not
squat down.
tell you?
What are you from?
Oh, when's not the question, miss. And you hear the sound of tink. You hear the same kind of that first initial metallic tink, but you recognize a coin being flipped. And you hear the voice no longer coming from the Modron, but coming from behind you in the hallway. My apologies, miss. That shape's just a little easier to get around in. You look a little stuck. A little down on your luck, one might say.
No.
No? Just need a little helping hand getting out of here?
Yeah, literally just directions. Who are you?
He steps out. Dark, gray, three-piece suit. Very large hat. Pulled down low, but you look up and you see one green eye matching the Modron. And the other is the silver that you're used to, coming out of a Modron's face. He goes, "Just a passerby. Thought you could use some help. You're also much, much less fun than your friend."
Okay, so like, in terms of like, so are you one of the time incursions, or are you just like?
Time incursion? Ma'am.
I just gotta check the boxes.
I
I
appreciate your
apologize if I offended.
thoroughness. No. The only time that I meddle with is what I can borrow. And I've been here long before any of y'all figured out how to mess with the way things flow.
So you're literally fate, luck, chance.
I'm luck.
I've met chaos, so it's not that far of a stretch that luck
Oh,
and
so-
chance would exist.
That's so
Order's got to exist somewhere out there.
You've met Daddy. That's quite all right. Yes.
Oh.
Luck, I ain't luck, miss. Appreciate it, but luck is sister's probably the best word for it. Everybody likes her. Lady Luck, Misfortune.
And you are?
I'm the ugly brother. I'm the downside.
Consequences?
Of a sort. It's harder to put a name to me. That's why I think that's partly why they like my sister. Also, she's a lady. And when all those stupid boys are writing the history books, they can't get distracted from whatever's happening by a nice pair of tits. And he kind of looks down and goes, I got nothing in that regard. What I do have is a sense for when people are on a precipice. And he starts to walk around this little intersection of books. Still flipping that coin. The Modron's still standing in front of you with that goofy-looking salute. And he goes, I understand you're just looking for directions, and I will be happy to return this little friend to his former state and send him on his way, and he will guide you out neat as you please. But I also come not as a warning so much as a sign. There's an awful lot of bad luck coming down the pike. And you look like someone who could use a little help in their corner.
Well, thank you. That's very generous. But didn't you already offer that to Lamy?
Oh, I did.
He would get very jealous if it wasn't a one-time offer.
Oh, that's
Very jealous.
bad luck comes
So
for
I think I'm
everybody.
gonna have to decline kindly. Also, I'm just gonna say, be very careful. You got very lucky with Lamy, and then lucky again with me. Our other companions see a green Modron, and they will squish it very quickly. Green is not a friendly color around a lot of bad things happening in our sphere of influence. So just a word of caution. If you're going to appear, myself or Lamy are probably your safest bets. If you try to approach Ronan or Atronics, they will destroy you. Just out of paranoia and habit. Or at least that, not your that's form. Obviously, we can't do anything to this form, which is, incredible. But the Modron form, green Modron, kind of a...
It's fascinating, honestly. These little guys don't usually stand to have my sister or I around. They like order. They like everything nice and lined up and stacked and filed away perfectly. All these damned books.
Yeah.
Which makes it more fun when I get to drive around in one a little bit. You said a
That's fair.
green one. Another
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Where?
I don't entirely know.
Huh.
Somewhere on this plane of existence at this current time. Last I knew, in containment somewhere.
Fascinating. Well, it'd be a terrible shame if something were to happen and it were to get out, wouldn't it? That'd just be the damned worst.
Is that part of that bad luck you're talking about?
It's coming, ma'am. I can't stop it. I'm just along for the ride.
That's fair. I understand that.
Your boy, Lamy, you said?
Mm-hmm.
He had a fair run of it. Sent up a beacon, crying out for help.
He does do that.
Lucky I found him first.
You're probably right about that. From what I'm observing right here.
You should have seen
Probably.
the things coming after him. Dragged his soul off to the darkest places in the abyss.
We
See,
should
Miss,
probably
I'm-
warn him about that, shouldn't we?
Oh, no. They'll
No?
keep away from me. I've taken that poor sap under my wing. I just thought I'd extend the offer to you as well. But I'm not going to push it. You already declined, and I am, of course, a gentleman. So, you see him. Excuse me for a moment. tung, 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 tung. The Modron behind you snaps up and goes, runs off to where he's standing, kind of picks it up. And two green eyes start looking back at you. He smiles, tips his hat.
I curtsy.
You say I curtsy, you gotta roll a curtsy check for
I
me. These are the
will.
rules.
I know. I know you didn't make those. Oh, performance.
Sure.
14.
It is polite. It is professional. It is also distant.
I thank you for your kind warning, sir. Don't mean to assume, but this form.
Sir is fine.
Okay.
Best of luck to you. And if you see my sister, punch her in the mouth for me. And he, with that same flick of a coin, into the dark.
Thank you.
And on the ground, the eye just kind of, the arms pop out, and it kind of stands up and goes, "Greetings and salutations. Are you lost?"
I'm looking for the exit.
Of course. The main exit, correct? There is no fire?
Correct.
Excellent. Please, follow me. And it sort of turns, and the eye in the center goes, it throws a little bit of light just as a beacon so you can follow it down these hallways as you make your way out of the archives. And that's a good place to take a break, I think. You want a 10? You want a 15? What are y'all feeling?
I'm fine with a 10 or a 15,
Let's take a 10.
whatever you guys want.
Cool. So 10 minutes. We'll be back. Don't go too far away. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Bye, folks.
Boop.
Good evening and welcome back. We have returned. Platter's empty, full of water. Chris has a squeaky toy.
Chubaroo!
The Chubaroo. I apologize.
It even says WRX on its butt.
Cute.
Same. Anyway,
We all have the same tattoo then.
yeah, that's the 5% chance. That's how you get in. It's like a cult.
I think I decided on my tattoo. I think I'm gonna get one. I think I'm gonna do it.
Oh?
Around one nipple. Just a flat.
Oh.
No, not really. But I think I have decided on a tattoo, which we'll get into that at later.
We'll get into that.
Okay.
That sounds like a TBD episode if I've ever heard one. Anyway, when last we left our pair of intrepid heroes, Athalia being escorted away from the Brotherhood, as you guys continued walking up, the rain is getting heavier. It is... There's some light thunder in this storm, but it is not thundering and lightning in a torrential downpour. It's just unpleasant to stroll through. But it's helping keep the streets clear a little more as you proceed apace. You're noticing, Lami, as you're balking at all the guards. Some of them are balking back. Some of them just kind of look at you funny as you go. But you are noticing as you're moving around through sort of central square, there looks to be a pop-up bazaar that started. Sort of pop-up.
That's bizarre.
How bizarre. How bizarre.
How bizarre.
A pop-up market
Balthazar?
stall. With a whole bunch of, Lami, you recognize a whole bunch of Kendoan-style stalls popping up. And you're recognizing Kendoan faces and voices babbling over sort of an open-air market, even in this light rain, babbling back and forth, haggling with each other, trying to sell.
They're good at babbling and haggling.
And it feels oddly like home to you in this moment. Because it's just... You could be, aside from the rain, you could be in Kondo itself, just traveling from place to place, looking for a bite to eat, looking for a beer. Nothing really changed, except
And cheap haggling bastards.
It's all part of the market experience. If you pay, that's how you mark out the tourists. If they pay the first asking price, yeah, that's how you know they got money. As you're strolling through, they're haggling back and forth. A couple of stalls are haggling, are trying to call you over to their wares. Like, you, sir, you look like you could use your tail looks a little dirty. You look like you could use a tail polish. Come look. I have many things that may. You do want a new pair of shoes? It looks like you could use a new pair of shoes. Those don't look too good on you. Usual.
I don't even have shoes.
That's why you need them. All the better reason to have them. Come. And they're trying to beckon you in. Ronan, you're trying to get some people coming up to you and be like, hello, sir. Is there anything? Are you well? Do you need a place to sit? Please come. My stall is dry and warm. I have tea. I can get you whatever you need. And just many folks are sort of elbowing each other out of the way to talk to the two of you. What would you?
A lot of people here that weren't here last time.
I keep my hand on my bag of holding.
I would if there's too many people coming up to us, I would just start saying, we don't have any money. None.
Okay. Make a persuasion check there for me, Lami.
I'm not lying. I don't have any money.
I know, you're trying to convince them.
21.
Some of them are like, oh, sorry, well, you don't need money. Tell you what, take this as a gift. A small sample of my wares. And someone comes up with a very small pair of sandals. Like, this would be perfect for a small boy. Do you have a son, a daughter? This would be perfect for them. Here, take them as a gift.
Nope, it's just me. I don't need any sandals. Unless they talk. You got any free talking sandals?
I have no talking sandals, and if I did, you would have to pay for them, unfortunately. These are the gifts. Please. And
guess we're not doing business.
Pushing your way through this crowd slowly.
I use Giant's Might.
Okay. You reach down and put your hand in your pouch of holding, and people notice this, and so they kind of give you a slightly wider berth. But then, yes, you start to grow. All of a sudden, you're towering over all of these people, and you start to hear them go, oh, it's him. Is that can't be. He's too old. He's far too old.
Too old?
That can't be the Tyrant Slayer. He's an old man.
As Keldar's head swings down my hip.
That could be anybody's head.
True. It was just a front half of a skull, I suppose.
Yeah. But they're like, oh, sorry. They start yelling at each other in Kendoan to get out of the way and let the nice man through. But you are hearing people talking about the Tyrant Slayer. And they're like, oh, yeah.
You're more famous. You're more famous among people from my town than I am in your town.
Ronan's shoulders kind of sink a little bit more.
Yeah,
Keep walking.
They give you a fairly wide berth as you continue making your way up to...
That only lasts a minute.
Oh, they got the hell out of your way. Because you're large, you're able to cover ground with your big ass legs. And you're able to get around the corner and start making your way up the hill when it wears off. Real quick, buddy. Roll a con save for me.
Did you get stabbed?
Is this to see if I die?
No.
Or are you just old? Are you having a heart attack?
I think I might be.
Do you smell burning toast?
That's fucked up.
That is a 9 with my +8.
Whoa. Oh.
So that is a natural 1.
Buddy. When you shrink back down, there is that moment where your heart just kind of when you breathe through it like it's a muscle spasm, because you know the heart is a muscle like anything else. But that took a little extra out of you. Take a level of exhaustion.
Ronan, we gotta get you one of those scooters.
The fuck is a scooter?
It's like a little tiny thing with 4 wheels that you ride around because you're not very good at walking anymore.
As you're taking a quick second to sit, you do hear clunk, 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 as a small group of guardsmen comes through, looking to be a decent mix of gnomes, elves, tieflings, all of which are in this sort of this artificial armor that makes them stand about a head taller than the average human, so they're on par with you when you're standing, Ronan, in these sort of armored walking exosuits, trumping forward. They go, "Sir, you all right?"
I just kind of like glance up out at them out of like the corner of my eye with my head like partially down. Yes, I'm fine.
All right. Keep an eye out. There was rumors of a disturbance down at the market. We're just trying to keep an eye on things.
What kind of disturbance?
Just a very large individual tromping through. People were conflicted about if he was wrecking stalls or not, so we were sent down to check it out. You didn't
If I
happen to see
see-
anything like that, did you?
I did not see anything like that, but I will keep my eye out.
You're well. Keep an eye on him, will you, sir? And he throws that over to
Oh,
Mommy.
yeah.
He doesn't look so
Yeah,
good.
yeah. He's had a long day. We've been walking around a bit.
Well, if you need a place to sit, there's a new fountain up in the rich district. If you keep to yourself and keep to the benches, the nobles won't bother you too much.
Appreciated.
Y'all take care. All right, let's go. Doof, 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 doof. And they would tromp off down towards the bazaar that you guys just walked through.
Baka?
Baka.
How loud do you say that, Baka, buddy?
Not very loud.
Okay. Good. So yeah, they don't hear you over the tromping. I wasn't sure if I didn't know if you were trying to get the attention of some of the guards.
That's right. You better fucking run.
That's right. You,
Get
buck,
outta
fuck-
here.
You better buck and run.
You better buck and run. Buck.
Go buck yourself.
I would
Sorry.
now like to request whoever edits our videos to superimpose "bok" over any of our swear words.
Courtney, I'm sorry.
Not really. Don't do that. I did that once for a
You did
YouTube
once.
video. It was awful. It took
Yeah.
me like 8 hours
Yeah.
to make like a 1-hour video.
Anyway,
We swear a lot.
we do swear a lot.
Gosh
you-
darn it.
As you keep going, you start to make your way back up into the nobility district, and very few folks are walking around in the rain out here. But you are walking past very nice fences, nice gardens, small yards, outdoor furniture that's been set up but left in the rain. Very few people walking about as the rain starts to pick up. And you're making your way over towards where, well, Goop Huddle was part of what happened there. The other part was a tremendous crater.
I don't know who made that.
Technically, none of you do. Because that house, the house that used to belong there, was being besieged by Ergen and some of his guardsmen before it was leveled by an explosion. As you come up, the time that has passed has been enough time for some fairly significant construction to happen. The houses around the place have been repaired, looking as if no explosion, there was no damage, there was nothing. In the crater, though, not hiding the fact that there is this massive gouge in the landscape, there is what looks like a very large pavilion.
Or like a gazebo.
No, gazebos have more sides.
Is that really the difference?
That's part of it.
Oh.
Gazebos are usually like a semi-cylindrical octagonal on the top. Like, yeah, that's a very different building than a pavilion. But a very large pavilion with no real walls. It looks like right now there have been pieces of cloth or fabric have been hung up to serve as partitions in the rain. This is sort of taking up the back half of the pavilion. Or the pavilion takes sort of the back half of this crater and sort of moving down into it near abouts the center of this crater, where you remember Lami kneeling with Robbie and channeling a whole lot of power. There is what looks like a small shrine. You're not entirely sure who it's made out to, but like a small altar. There are candles that are still burning despite the rain, and a few individuals kneeling in front of it.
What kind of individuals?
They've got hoods up to protect themselves from the rain, based on shape or size. One figure under 4 feet, dwarf, gnome, halfling, something of that sort. And then 2 other vaguely humanoid figures. You do catch what looks like a horn of some kind sort of poking out of one of the sides of the hood and kind of splaying it out a little further. But other than that, just these 3 individuals kneeling in front of this shrine. With the baffling of these curtains, you're having a hard time seeing into the pavilion from where you are.
I will go to the pavilion.
Okay.
Same.
Roll me perception checks. The Parians.
I have disadvantage. Man, that sucks when you roll 2 dice and you have to use the other one. I'm so used to using the good one. That is a 7.
Okay. Josh, what'd you get? You muted, buddy.
You muted.
9.
9. Excellent. Proud of both of you. So, as you guys mosey around, the 3 individuals are sort of, they look up and see you walking down this very well-maintained path of flagstones. The rest of this crater has been sort of left open. Grasses and things are starting to poke through in places, but it is not nearly as well maintained as everything else. This is not an artificially maintained space. These 3 individuals kind of look up as you walk down the path behind them, and stepping around them, walk closer to the pavilion around this shrine. As the hill starts to slope up in front of you, all you can really see is billowing fabric. You're standing outside. What do you do?
I go in.
Okay.
Into the fabric.
As you step inside, you hear your ears pop, like you just stepped, like you're changing in elevation. The pressure changes differently, and you step inside this wonderful pavilion filled with people of all walks of life, all very, very finely dressed. You're seeing dwarves, elves, tieflings, humans, a few half-orcs scattered here and there, and all the different cross-pollinations of that kind. And you see sort of traipsing around in the middle is a halfling. He's sort of walking around. There's definitely an air that this is one of his spaces. He is dressed in a very fine gold vest with a dark purple shirt, dark pants, fine shiny shoes, walking around, chatting with people, amiably shaking hands, this guy either runs the place or owns the place. Because you could spot him from a mile away as all these people are sitting on couches and lounges and things. And there's this general sense of gentle music, and it doesn't feel like it's raining outside at all.
So the fact that this house was under besiege by Ergen would imply that whoever owned the house wasn't that great of a person.
Correct.
Since seeing that this person is here would also give me the sense that this isn't that great of a person. Which would then lead me further into my they own a giant metal chicken and abducted my friend. So I will walk merrily further into the crater area.
Strolling up into this pavilion, you start to see this halfling kind of skirting around, and as you start to walk forward, there is this gentle whooshing sound as a pair of air genasi, sort of floating forward a little bit, go, "Good afternoon, gentlemen, and welcome to the repast. How may we assist you? What kind of comfort do you seek?"
Is that the owner?
Well, yes, but
Then that.
Yeah, we just want to have a chat.
if you would like to have a discussion with Master Prattlesby, that can be arranged. We can set up an appointment in his office if you would like.
How about now?
And they both kind of look at each other and go, "Sir, if you roll intimidation for me, actually, let's let the dice play into this."
That's a disadvantage.
Lami, you can always help if you tell me how.
I don't know how I'd help with this one, honestly.
I'm just looking. I didn't roll that bad. I rolled an 11 and a 10. Plus 6, so 16.
Okay. Let's do a contested roll. What's the angle you're going for here? Are you going for you going for grumpy old man who just
Oh, grumpy old man.
the two of them just kind of look at each other and go, Mr. Prattlesby is engaged otherwise right now. What was your name, sir? We can take your name and he can meet you at a time that is of your convenience.
Ronan Dex.
Ronan, yes. Mr. Dex, and your name as well, sir.
Lami. Just Lami.
Lami, just Lami. Interesting. What an interesting naming convention. I don't think we've met anyone like this. No, sister, we haven't. Yes. Well, Mr. Dex and Mr. Just Lami, I can see if Mr. Prattlesby is available now, or he can reach out to you. He has your name. We have your names. We will make sure that he can reach out to you. Please wait here.
Now would be good.
We will impress upon him the urgency of your request. If there's anything we can get you in the meantime, my sister would be more than happy to. And the one speaking just kind of gestures to her sister, and she's just like, "Yes, I would be more than happy to." The first Genasi kind of bows out, wisps on over, as the second Genasi is kind of like, is there refreshments, drink, anything? Would you like a seat? Anything I can get you?
What kind of snacks do you guys have?
Mostly finger foods, honestly.
I'll
some
have
water
one of
dressing.
each.
One of each, excellent. And she kind of claps, and there is a swirl of air over by one of the buffet tables. And Lami, actually, both of you roll Arcana checks for me.
Ooh, 7.
2.
Ooh.
Yeah, it just looks like these things are flying magically, just like piling up onto a plate. And it's brought over, and she takes it with both hands and hands it over to you. There you are. There's plenty. I got 2 of each in case you were hungry, Mr. Dex.
Ronan, look how tiny this sandwich is.
It's full of it's just like cucumber and white bread. Like this is and you, Ronan, I'm assuming you're watching Mr. Prattlesby this entire time. So you watch as this other
I'm gonna get out Fulcrum, but I'm gonna lean on it like a cane, so I'm holding like the head of it.
And you roll intimidation again. Make it a straight roll.
Intimidation. 17.
17. Excellent. So you watch as the air genasi kind of is just crouched down next to him to whisper in his ear, and he's just like, "What? No, I don't have time for." And she looks over, and she looks over, and you watch as her eyes widen now that you've pulled out Fulcrum. And
my eyes are just daggers.
like right at the two of them. And she just kind of like, you see her turn, and you watch Mr. Prattlesby just kind of fix himself up, and she's just like, she kind of stands up and has her hands together and kind of bowing while retreating to come up, and she goes, Mr. Dex, Mr. Jaslami, Mr. Prattlesby will be welcome to have this discussion with you, presumably in private, based on the nature of your approach.
Doesn't matter to me. Depends on how much face he would like to save.
Face, sir?
Yes. Like public image.
Sir, I must warn you. This is a place of peace. This is a place where
I
all
know.
walks of life
I
may
was
come
here.
together.
I was here when it was made.
Then you understand the sanctity of this place. Thank you. Come with me. And the two genasi kind of lead you to a back corner where there looks like large purple and gold drapes sort of set up in this little alcove in the corner. They kind of gesture and the curtains flip open, and inside you see Mr. Prattlesby sitting there with a wine glass in his hand, sitting at a table, not lounging not like sprawled out like an emperor, but definitely sitting here in the center of his power. He goes, "Please come in, my friends. It's lovely to meet you both. Thank you, Valen. Thank you, Gwenin. Your assistance is no longer required here. Please tend to the other guests and make all the usual politeness about why I'm indisposed." And they both, yes, sir, drift off, closing the curtains behind. And Mr. Prattlesby stands up and goes, "It is a privilege to make your acquaintance, gentlemen. My associates have told me your names, but I would love to make sure that they pronounce them correctly. What is your name, sir?"
Ronan Dex.
Dex. Ronan Dex. Very good. Very good. Good to meet you, sir. And you, sir?
Lami.
Lami. Just Lami.
Yep. Short and sweet.
Well, is there anything I can get either of you two gentlemen? I see you have some delicacies. Is there any beverage, something stronger, something that may set you at ease? This is a place of business and peace, of course.
I'd have one of those.
One of these?
One of the whatevers.
Well, here, and he hands you his wine glass. And goes, "Trust me, it has not been poisoned. And I will pour myself another if you'd like. It will take me a moment."
Weird, but okay.
Mr. Dex, anything for you?
No.
Very well. While I pour this, if you would like to approach me about why you've entered my home with such unusual ferocity and fervor.
Where's Ed?
Who?
And I would like to gauge his reaction.
Okay. Insight check for me, buddy.
It's normally at advantage, so it's just a straight roll. Come on. That is a natural 20.
Beautiful.
420.
He rolled a 10.
A natural 10?
A natural 10. 4. Much higher than that, but not above a
27.
natural 20. He doesn't... You know what to look for when you catch somebody in a lie. They pause a little too long. They stop, they stammer, they think, they twitch a little bit. You see none of these. As he turns quizzically, you may have to be more specific, sir. There are many Eds and Edwards and Edwins in this city, and it's entirely possible I may have met him, but I'm completely unsure of what you're talking about.
Ed, the owner and proprietor of the Whetstone.
You know any metal chickens?
Metal...
Big ones.
Like how big? Big
really
is relative.
big.
Like...
Big enough to pull a cart.
Oh?
And I'll just be staring at him this whole time,
Okay.
trying to gauge his...
No, I'm not. I'm not familiar with any metal chickens. I suppose there's been some work down in the artificing school about replacing horses and cows and oxen and things with mechanical beasts of burden, partly out of cruelty and protection of the animals, but also to save on costs, save on feed. But no, I've heard rumors about them, but I've never seen one. Occasional prototypes. I don't often get down into Durgan for. It's a very exciting time, but there's plenty of business to be done up here, you see. Are you accusing me of a crime, gentlemen?
No, but it's
Yeah.
weird that you said you'd see it down there.
Well,
when
I mean, there's
we
all
never
kinds of
said it
rumors.
was down there at all.
There's all kinds of rumors. You spend enough time in the city, they can make all kinds of things down there. Mechanical dragons, things that teleport objects from one place to another with no tunnel or pipe or magic. It just happens. Half of it's probably rumor, of course, but yeah, it's business. It's a good thing to keep your ear out for. So I'm not being accused of any crime. There's no...
No. Our friend Ed went missing. We're looking around.
I'm terribly sorry to hear that. When did he go missing?
4 days ago.
What? Well, if you want to know what I was doing 4 days ago, I was here. I was arranging a parley. My two assistants will be able to vouch for me, as well as any of the members of that individual party. There's a neutral territory signing of the paperwork to have an audit of the entire city of Durganvor. King Robbie was here. A king. Here. I never thought it would happen. At least not for another 5 years or so.
What was he doing here?
He wasn't trying to marry anyone, was he?
Oh, no. Please, we don't do marriages here. That's a good... We thought about that as a marketing angle, but it didn't quite pan out like you wanted to.
Is that all this
It's a little
glow
too
and
permanent binding.
divine goopy hole is to you? Just a business venture?
Well, that's an excellent question. Initially, yes. Initially, it was a piece of territory. It was a piece of land up here that had unbelievable value. The original owners, well, they disappeared, presumably, when the building exploded. So, it was an
So
open
this
piece of-
isn't who owned the building.
Oh,
You're
no.
not who owned this plot of land. So how
No.
did you come to be the proprietor?
Well, I keep my ear to the ground, and explosions are quite loud, and you can hear them from quite far away. And I happen to know an individual with a clever quill and connections the owners were written off as dead, and it went up to auction. A small private auction that I was the only attendee. I paid a handsome sum for it, of course. Made sure that money was donated to help rebuild the surrounding area and rebuild that fountain out there. Updated the neighborhood. Improved it. And I was going to build something here, but then I found that sense of right and good and energy and peace and order. And I just couldn't look away from it.
Is he pulling my leg? Is this like a rehearsed story that he tells himself every night?
Roll
before
insight, buddy.
bedtime? Not as good, but it's still 15.
15? He's 100%, like, this is a place that he has, like, he's fallen into, and really, like, it's the job that you hate, and then you start doing it for a while. It's the job you're like, oh, I'll do this for a couple of years, and then you find that you're enjoying it. And he has drunk the metaphorical Kool-Aid.
So you just like it here in the pit?
I do not live here. No. This is. I do have an estate elsewhere in the city, but this is the closest thing to neutral ground that anyone can find, and I've found that I've spent enough time here that I seem to have a sense for dishonesty, if you will. It's turned into a bit of a shorthand for nobles getting together, having parties and things. And yes, the weddings on occasion. Can you imagine a wedding not going forward because the venue refused to marry you? Like, that would be preposterous. There's no way I could get a refund on that. So we don't do weddings.
So thinking in my brain.
Speaking into your microphone, please.
Thinking in my brain.
Yes.
If he did kidnap Ed, Ed is obviously not here. But I rolled pretty well on my insight check when I mentioned Ed, and he seemed to have no idea what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of derails my whole theory. Because then if he did have Ed just in a different location, then he probably would at least know who Ed was, and it didn't seem like he knew who Ed was. So now I'm just kind of back to square one. And also, I hate this guy.
He's a landlord, bro.
He's a landlord who's getting high on his own supply. The worst kind of landlord.
I don't know what to do with him either, because now he's like, I don't know any Ed. Never met an Ed.
Who was this person with a quick quill?
Are you going to shake him down?
No.
No, we're just curious.
I also don't understand what shaking someone would do.
Well, it rattles their feelings a little bit and intimidates people.
They have feathers?
No, not feathers. Don't be ridiculous. People don't have feathers.
Fair.
That's true. You don't see any bird people running around.
No.
Not usually.
If you do, let me know. I would love to meet one.
It's cleared my throat. Sorry.
So who was the person with a quick quill?
Mr. Vortex.
Where can I find Mr. Vortez?
Well, last I checked, one of the prisons. He was arrested for tax fraud, and they sent him off to debtor's prison. I don't know who could have turned him in. Certainly not the small halfling like myself with a renowned sense of justice.
Is he
That would
lying?
be preposterous. Is he
Did
lying?
you turn him in? 2.
You're not sure. He's talking awfully fast, and you're very old and tired.
What kind of tax fraud?
Real estate.
So what you're saying
But
is, if there's some sort of natural disaster, like an earthquake, for example, and a building was leveled, killing the inhabitants inside and the owners, that plot of land would then go up to auction, in which case someone could purchase it.
Assuming... Now, this is not upstanding in a court of law, mind you. This is simply what I have learned. Unless there is an individual who can receive ownership of land. Nobility dies, the son takes over, ruins the whole facade until he dies, and the next son comes in and ruins it all again. Family lineage. Your families will bicker and squabble about the land, but if no one wants to claim it, or no one is around to claim it, because they've all been blown up because they were dealing with illicit cults in the basement, usually it is left in escrow and sent to auction. I just happened to, at the time, have a source inside that could redirect some of those things. I don't anymore.
How did
He's
you
in
know
debtor's
that there
prison.
was a cult in the basement?
Oh, rumors.
Yeah, that was an oddly specific thing to say.
Rumors. But imagine, I don't know.
19.
Rumors, friend. He's, again, shooting completely straight with you right now.
What the fuck?
Imagine, if you will, a source of energy like this in your basement. Of course you would do things with it.
The source of energy wasn't in the basement.
It
He
wasn't?
made
Oh.
it with King Robbie.
Oops.
Fascinating. So were there cults in the basement?
No, it was a big hole in the ground.
I think there was a cult in the basement.
I don't remember there being a cult in the basement. I don't really remember anything before there was a big hole in the ground.
Wasn't it a hole in the ground that went to the Primus pool and
The
then
Primus.
you and Robbie
Yeah,
smited
yeah,
it,
yeah,
and then it
yeah.
became this weird, all-powerful goop that people can forge magical weapons out of that
You
can
can
take
make
down the
weapons?
universe?
Yep,
How much
that's
does
the
he
one.
perk up at that?
As you literally rattle off a series of impossible things, he's like, oh. And you watch his brain, you get to watch his brain fight itself. Because this man has spent 9-ish months, 8 hours a day, essentially irradiating himself with the energy of Mechanus. The energy of order and the law and right and wrong and nothing in between. And you get to watch his brain fight that initial impulse of, oh, I could make money on this. And no, that would be wrong. That is not the correct thing to do with it. I don't know what the correct thing is, but what you're thinking isn't it. And you get to watch that discussion fire between his eyes.
And I kind of look as I'm seeing this internal conflict in him. I'll turn to Lami and go, and you know, the only person who knows how to make weapons out of it would be Ed, the person we're looking for. And since he
Ed,
can't seem
indeed.
to help us find him, I suppose it's just bad luck.
I'm terribly sorry to hear about your friend. But if what you say is true, whoever knows this information would make him a very, very valuable target. Who else knew what this pool was capable of?
The chickens.
Yeah, the giant metal chickens.
God, I don't remember who else knew about this.
That
Well, now you. So, congratulations. You now have a target on your back.
well,
Yay.
kind of is like,
Have a lovely day. Hopefully, no earthquakes come by. And I'll just kind of twist the hammer a little bit and try to get like one little tremor to pop out. Just one little rumble.
it's hard to notice in this space because there are no hard walls. But as you kind of take the fulcrum and twist it, you twist the head of it around, there's this single ripple that sends the chairs and everything kind of skittering a little bit. Some of the silverware on the table jumps. But that's it. And he's just like, welcome. You are welcome back anytime. I am here most of the time. If you need some of your own peace, please visit the shrine out front, and we'll be happy to see you again.
Thank you.
Very well, Mr. Dex. Mr. Jaslami. Enjoy
Have
your
a
day.
good everything. Good luck.
As you walk out, people are doing a mix of making direct eye contact with you and remembering your faces, looking directly away from you as to not recognize you at all, or a terrible mix of both, where they're looking away but doing one of these as you walk
Hey,
past.
Could I get another tray of those tiny sandwiches for the road, please?
But of course, yes. We can set them aside in a bag for you. And you watch as a bag just kind of swoops over and grabs a whole fistful of sandwiches and brings it over to you.
Thank you. Tiny sandwiches.
As you walk back out, stepping through, your ears pop again. And you're back outside in the rain. It's picked up now. The three figures who were praying at the shrine have left, and it is just the two of you out in the rain.
Where's the
Got
closest
any other
manhole
ideas?
cover?
The closest what?
Manhole cover.
Ronan's going sewer hunting again.
Uh-oh.
Make a perception check for me. You'll have to do some hunting.
13.
13. You get a rough idea on where a couple of them are, and you start making your way over.
I'm just gonna go over to one and just sit down in front of it, just in the rain, and then just like flop down onto my back, just staring up. Just put my hands on my face and be like, I don't know what to do.
I don't either, honestly. The giant metal chicken has really thrown me.
And I just lay there in silence.
Lummy, you gonna lay on the ground with him?
I'll sit next to him.
Eating your sandwiches.
Yes.
White bread and cucumber sandwiches. Just like Ma never made before, but they're pretty good.
So I'm out of ideas.
Yeah, well, we're going to leave the two of you there, and we'll jump to Rachel. See what she's up to. So, Rachel. Thalia, you have exited the archives. You are given a genteel wave by the napping elf as he left. You're not sure that his eyes ever actually opened, but he spoke a whole sentence at you, and that's really more than you could expect from a sleeping man. What do you do next? It's around probably 2 in the afternoon. It's been a long day of researching.
Yeah. Let's see. Either I'm gonna take a nap, or I'm gonna go help the Brotherhood in the 2 tasks that we have been given them. So,
Okay.
I think I will go try to help with research.
As you mosey your way on through, up to sort of where the students hang out, where they perform their own individual research tasks. You notice that there have been two sets of tables pushed together, forming a long table, and there is what looks like a magical wall running between them. And as you're standing there, sort of in the center, you're on neither side of the wall, and you can hear the rush of conversation happening on both sides of that wall. And you can see on the left-hand side charts and maps and all kinds of world mapping things. This group looks like they're the group that's trying to figure out hypothetical time travel, because you can't really give a bunch of college and grad students the knowledge that time travel exists without bad things happening. So this is entirely hypothetical to them. The other half is, let's find out how to DH somebody. And you're seeing some of the more biologically minded individuals hanging out in that room and chatting back and forth. Which side do you go assist?
Part of me wants... There's a very large part of her that wants to go help with the de-aging, because that's directly tied to her party member? Friend?
Up to you. Both of them seem... neither of them seem to be stuck from where you're looking. They both seem to be making...
yeah, I'd probably be better at, like, posing theoretical questions than biology. I feel like. She'd probably... Knowing her, she'd step into the de-aging one first, and... Correct me if I'm wrong, but she'd, like, be lost in the conversation. Like, that's not her specialty. That she'd just be like...
There's a... So, as you step through, there's a kind of grungy-looking graduate student who's sort of standing up near the head of the table, and he goes, the problem is we don't know how this aging thing happened. 3 months temporally displaced. Fine, whatever the fuck that means. That's what they're figuring out over there. The problem is, he's old. Great. How do we undo that? If we can't go back and fix it, how do we backstep? What do we do? What do we do with that? I think magic isn't the solution. I think we need to find something that is longer lived than whoever this subject is. Hear me out. Troll spit. Trolls regenerate, right? You can't kill a troll without cutting off the head and burning it, right? Right? Look, shut the fuck up. Kenneth, shut it. I want to hear you. Just because I aced the fairy tales quiz has nothing to do with this, but okay, kind of does. Troll saliva is inherently regenerative. If we can't undo the thing, we can postpone it. We make a potion, we make a tincture, we make an injection, I don't care. We find something that we can do. It's a daily dose. If we ingest him with too much troll, anything, subject A might become a troll. Can't confirm nor deny that, but we'll begin to take on some more troll-like aspects. Right? That's how chimeras happen? Cool. If we distill it down to, I couldn't even tell you what percentage, what dilution or concentration or whatever the fuck it needs to be, that might work as a temporary solution. And the room is just kind of staring at this guy like he's lost his marbles. There's a magical little Bunsen burner boiling a pot of water that you thought was originally for some sort of titration reaction. Instead, it's just making coffee. They all kind of are stopped, and they're all kind of staring. And there's a very heavy silence in the room. It's kind of you've poked your head in. And kind of... Hi, miss, are you... Can we help you?
I just heard about the thought projects. It sounded interesting.
Oh, it's a... Sorry, I was loud. Did they send someone over to complain? Was I
No. I heard about it from my mentor. I didn't know if I'd be able to offer any help. I just thought, I'm not great biology. I mean, I've seen troll spit work, helping with regenerative things. Yeah.
And when he's like, "Oh, really?" and the rest of them was like, "Oh God, another one." With like just continuing to, and they start breaking into small groups, and this student comes over, and goes, like, kind of brushing his hair and fixing himself up, and goes, "Hi, I'm can you tell me about it? Like you've seen it work?"
And I haven't studied it, but there's this adventurer who was arm injury, and there was some sort of
What was the injury?
mixture, like just couldn't use the arm at all, just wasn't responding.
Just like was it dislocated? Was it ripped off?
Worse than dislocated.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry if this makes you uncomfortable. I just would love to know the extent of the injury.
No, I'm trying to. I don't. It's like I know, but I don't. Like I know it was bad, but like,
Ma'am.
it was like almost torn off, but then not. Like it wasn't torn off.
So like, okay, so like 90% separation for the body. Okay.
And like healed a little bit with some magic, but like lost use of. And I think there was some sort of mixture with troll spit in it. And eventually overnight mobility was regained.
Well, that's much faster than I expected. Overnight.
I mean, part of the healing I think had been done with magic. So
Okay.
but, it wasn't like
just
like healing magic to like the initial injury, like so it wasn't like bleeding out, I think.
Okay. So
and then,
divine or arcane?
This is a really hard question because I don't know who healed Ronan. Was that me or
I think it was you.
Okay, and is that one's?
How does Thalia define her magic? How would she define it?
That one would probably be arcane. She does have some spells that are divine. That one's arcane.
Okay.
Okay, that was my question. I needed to think that one through.
Yeah.
All right. Arcane.
Okay. So
I think
makes it
that one.
repeatable. Excellent. Good. We don't have to worry about gods getting involved. Sorry, no offense. No offense if you follow anyone in particular, but that just makes it very, very hard to repeat the experiment. Imagine trying to run something off a battery that decides from day to day that it doesn't want to participate. Anyway, that's why I'm a graduate student instead of a PhD. Were you there?
Yeah.
And he kind of... Do you know... Was it... There... Look... Master Atronics is being very, very dodgy about this, about details. Dodgier than usual. Do you know about this? About this whole thing? Do you know,
I mean,
do you know the subject?
kind of. I heard the two projects that were going to be proposed to us.
Are you one of the... Are you in retrievals? Do you go out and, like, do the adventuring?
I'm in retrievals. Working on it.
Oh my god, that's so cool. Okay, sorry.
No,
Sorry.
I mean,
We should be working on this.
we need break sometime.
Oh, that's
I'm
so
told.
cool. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Hi, I'm Brother Alesto. It's very nice to meet you.
Hi. Okay. Oh. Freeze for a second. Do brothers go by first name or last name? Like, would I know
They
that
go by
that would
last
be
name.
his? They go. Okay. I'm Brother Antari.
He's gonna make a real quick history check.
I've been waiting for it.
How many times has he Googled you?
Enough that his eyes get big. And he's like, oh shit.
What? What? Did I say something?
No. It's lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
If you have, I would love your insights on any of this, but if you have to go like do adventuring things, I totally understand. I don't like, you can just pop by and pop in and pop out. That's totally fine. I'm not going to tell anybody that you're who you are because they'll freak out.
Thanks. Oh, freak. People freak. Why would my name freak anyone out?
Because you're a badass.
What?
Are you like currently decked out in like your red dragon scale armor and?
I am.
you got,
I mean,
like,
I
a robe
imagine.
on?
I have a robe over normally.
Okay. It
So,
says,
like, it's
Brotherhood
probably-
books embroidered on it.
I mean, it's. I usually have like it kind of blends in. I do have a robe over though that.
Yeah. You're not flashing knives, but he's definitely.
No.
Oh no, no. They were telling stories about you when I started. Like Atronics just picked you as a protege. That's so fucking cool.
Yeah. So I thought
sorry, I don't mean to geek out.
Mention some of the stuff. So I thought I'd come help. If there's anything I can do, I'm not great at biology. That's not really my main focus. With retrievals, I'm more on the theoretical side.
But you've been out there. You know what it's. You know things. You know. And he kind of like keeps looking over, and the rest of the group is arguing now about the efficacy of several different kinds of herbs, and one of the biologists is just drawing out different nomenclatures and taxonomies of plants, trying to come up with an herbal solution. He's like, you've been out there, you've seen the shit that these guys are just drawing on whiteboards, and that's so cool.
Oh. Well, thank you.
I would love any help that you have, but I understand if you want to go over and help with theoretical time travel over on the other side. But I would love to talk. I would love to hear your stories about what you did, especially what happened to the friend with the arm. Is the arm okay?
Yeah.
Like it's fully functioning.
Yeah. As I had it I healed the immediate wound and that wasn't functioning, and then we ran into this ally and
with a troll.
they had yes.
Can I?
And
sorry, you go.
and he had this salve and he gave it to my friend and suddenly he could use his arm again.
Can I if it's not too forward, can I talk to your troll friend?
I don't know if he's available right now.
Oh no, I sorry, I shouldn't have asked. That's a little too much.
I don't know how. I don't. When last we left him, he was. It's a long story. I'm not really sure how to get in contact with him right now.
And you stop, and you see him think, and you watch a decision. You watch a little needle in his head tick back and forth, but just like trying to make a decision, and it lands hard on one side. He goes, "This is gonna sound so corny, but I would love to hear about your stories over a drink."
Sure.
Is that a yes? That's a yes.
Sure.
I don't know what my schedule is lately. I just kind of got back in from
Okay.
an adventuring mission. So
Don't even care. Whatever your schedule is.
okay.
Are you staying in the Brotherhood?
Possibly.
Okay. Well, you know how this works. If you go down to the desk and ask for me, whenever works for you, I would love to chat more.
Oh, okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know if my stories will be that interesting, but
they're gonna be more interesting than mine.
yeah. And honestly, I bet if you maybe combined what you were thinking, because I don't know what was in the South that worked for my friend, maybe something with what you're thinking with that structure, maybe that structure would help activate. Is that how we talk in biology? Activate? Is that how it works?
I don't know. I'm not a biologist. I'm an anthropologist and folklore guy who just happens to have a medical background. I was a apprentice to my local town doctor before I joined the Brotherhood. So yeah, I don't have I have the medical experience and a lot of folk stories. So, but yeah, thank you for your insight, Brother Antari. It is much appreciated.
Yeah. For the good of the project.
Yeah. But yeah, any insights you have, please feel free to come back in. Always appreciate a senior member of the Brotherhood helping us out with this little hypothetical project of ours.
What?
Everyone else is just like, oh, yeah, and they're going back, and someone is starting to like lay out pieces of trying to come up with like different theorems and stuff with a minor illusion. So yeah, they don't. I should get back to.
Okay. Good luck.
Thanks. And he like kind of goes back over to his books and starts like shuffling through and organizing things, and you just watch as he just starts grinning from ear to ear as he falls into a flop sweat from nerves. He's just like, don't freak out, don't freak out, don't freak. He's just very excited. And everyone else is just like kind of looking at you and looking at him and just going back to what they're doing.
And I'll pop into the other side.
Okay. So, can I get an Arcana check at advantage, please?
Thank you.
Because you are pulling from a better and more accurate version of the original charts, because you saw them in Yati's cave.
Arcana?
Arcana.
28.
28. Mwah. That's perfect, because, hilariously, that puts us over 100 on those D percentiles we rolled earlier. And through the course of the day, how long do you plan on sticking around?
However long. I got no plans.
It's a couple of hours. And the clouds are darkening a little more as the sun has set. And with your help, several of these brothers, with Brother Keelan leading this particular group, find, as best you can muster with outdated charts, the landing zone of the Blue Incursion. It's on the main island of the ancient archipelago. Somewhere on
Is that
island.
a I need the name of that or I can find it.
If you have the name, because again, I don't have those notes in front of me because I have my notes scattered in too many places.
Oh, it's because I created this part of the world.
It's
What was the main one? Is that like the biggest one, or I don't? Oh, okay, what's gonna be the main one? Probably Vopest.
Somewhere on Vopest. Which narrows that down to a very much smaller graphical area. As you're looking at it, you realize this means boats.
Yep.
But yeah.
Maybe.
As you've landed on that location, coming up with that, take a big pin, socket it right into the caldera of that volcano. That is where
Wait, you want the volcano island? Because that's the other one.
the former volcano, because that's how archipelagos work. Is it? No, right. The highest point of that island. Let me rephrase
Because that one
it.
has mountains on it.
Yes, the highest, just like center on that map. That is where we will wrap for this evening. Thank y'all for playing, for passing back and forth like a grand old time. Keeping me on my toes. I wasn't expecting Ronan to go shake down the guy politely. But no, thank you all again for playing and making my Wednesday fan-fucking-tastic, because it's my favorite part of the week. Real quick volley of announcements. Chris, do we have Idiot's Guide coming up on Sunday?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Well, he's looking into that. Not tomorrow, but the week after, we have ourselves a pre-show. We have ourselves a quick pre-game show for our new Cyberpunk series that Erica is running with the Thursday crew. Sin, or Sensationally.me, is the GM for that. They're playing around in the Cyberpunk Red system, and it's going to be a fucking blast. So keep an eye out for that. 9 p.m. on Thursday is when they'll be having that sort of pre-show. If you don't know anything about the system, come in, check it out. They'll do a brief rundown, talk about characters, talk about the world they're going to play in, and then that show, I believe, picks up the following week. Unfortunately, Ash and Shade will be off the next 2 weeks because we will be short some humans. We will keep you posted if we do anything next week or the week after, so keep an eye on the social medias. It's sad to leave it at that moment, but we have some answers and we have some more questions.
I mean, you could play next week without me.
Good.
We are split.
We are split right now.
These
We'll
two
see.
can...
We'll see how that lands with our other two boys. But
I won't be here May 3rd.
that's on my calendar, buddy. We're
Right.
I got that noted. Thank you.
Very good. You're welcome.
But yeah, keep an eye out for on our social medias for other announcements. If we have Idiot's Guide or not, that's where we'll be announcing all of our stuff for the new Cyberpunk game. Please check it out because that's a hell of a crew on that show. But yeah, we will catch you all later, Internet. Thank you for tuning in and spending the evening with us. And have a lovely, lovely night. Take care, y'all.
Bye-bye.